Welcome back, everybody. I'm Doug, and this is Dying to Retire, a podcast about my journey into retirement and the eventual move to Guatemala, in particular, the Antigua area of Guatemala. Sorry I didn't record anything last night. Came home, I was a little tired. Today is my last day here. My ride picks me up around 1300, 1 o'clock for you civilians. Checkout time's at 10, but what's going to happen is I'm going to check out, clean up everything in here, check out of the hotel, but I'm going to leave my luggage. They allow me to do that. And they'll be taking me out again today, this morning, to show me a couple properties. Very nice folks, treated me really well. The options they showed me yesterday were nice. They were better than not the Antigua Gardens. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be mean to anyone in the Antigua Garden areas of here, but to me, it looks like Section 8 housing. The homes may be super nice inside. However, the couple ones I saw, the build construction was not there, but it is everything. Again, everything's on the hills, which is no good, especially for if you're elderly or anything like that, and getting in and out of your car, trying to park your car with that hill, and if it's raining, slick, God forbid there was ever snow. So, which won't happen, but God forbid there ever was. And there's so many trees around. They're tall, skinny trees with the power lines all over the place. So any view you're out on your deck or balcony, you don't have a good view of anything. And that for the houses I saw. So it's just, if you're here for the view, it's kind of like putting you in the middle of the woods where you can't see anything. So what's the point? You want to be overlooking the mountain, overlooking the lake, overlooking whatever. But stuck in the middle of the woods, you're hidden, and not a lot of natural light came in. And I know I'm rambling. So nothing yesterday they showed me really looked where I would like. They did show me another house in Los Años in there, and I keep trying to pronounce it correctly, and I can't because I'm still a little nasally from my cold. And it was a nice house. It was a little bit smaller than the El Volcan that I was looking at. And when they showed me that house, it was very nice. But the bedrooms are a little small. The homeowner had because it had already been purchased, so it'd be a second purchase. The homeowner had put these wardrobes around the room, which if you had a queen size bed, you had about, that's 12 to less than 18 inches. So you get out, and so you would be just jumping around. So it wouldn't be a bad house for like if you were on a beach or using this for weekends only, or like a quick Airbnb. But if you're going to be living in this house, it would not have the room. What was nice on the second floor, going off the main patio, it did have a larger terrace than El Volcan. And they did have built in where you could cook and put stuff on there. And they had a nice awning that came down. So retractable awning. So it was a nice house on there, but one downside also is in El Volcan, when you transition from the room to the bathroom, you see in a lot of Guatemalan homes still today, you have to step up about 7 to 8 inches to go into the bathroom. That's because the plumbing's underneath. That's how they do it. Well, in the El Volcan, it's a simple transition. There's nothing. You just keep walking, just like you would have an American home. And the downside of that step is when you get older and you have mobility issues or potential mobility issues, or you're older and not thinking, you have to step up, so you may trip. Or when you're stepping down, because I'm picturing like my father-in-law who's 90, if he was stepping out of that, he would have to step down that far, and he possibly could lose his balance. And so that's things that I've looked at when I'm looking at the homes. The house was nice. It was very well set up. The only other, not the only other, but the other issue there, the only room that had the AC was the master bedroom that I saw. I think they may have had one in the main living area, which is nice, but they really didn't need that in there because enough cross breeds. But having it in the master bedroom was good, but that was the only room. The other 3 bedrooms did not have any air conditioning. So if I ever was going to get a house here, yes, I'd take this split pack or the mini splits, I'd put them in there, but I'd also put ceiling fans. And that's one thing I want to talk to another real estate folks, because quick real estate took me in the morning before I went out with real estate in Antigua, kind of like what I'm doing today. And we went back to Los Franciscanos. I took another look at the El Volcan. Make you laugh, and I may have mentioned this before. They found out, oh, Gringo's looking at it too. So the person who was sitting on the fence the other day actually pulled the trigger and said, okay, I want that home, which is fine because it gives me time to keep looking at stuff and not feel pressured. But they took me in there and they showed me a couple more homes, and one's called Hummingbird, and that's a nice one-story home. It has, again, the second floor terrace, beautiful, but I'd have to walk up this big windy thing to get in there, and if you're getting old, it's hard to do. Beautiful views though, the way they're doing that, and I think that's in the C area of Los Francisco homes. Che, A, Bay, Che, yeah, Che, because what I'm looking at is Bay, that area. It's still close to the clubhouse. It's very simple. There's no reason never to use the clubhouse, never use the gym, even if you just want to get on the treadmill for 20 minutes or use the pool, because it's a quick 5-minute walk, literally a 5-minute walk. So at most. So you don't get in your car, don't take the e-bike, don't do anything, walk, burn the fat off, because all us fat Fs, we know what we need to do. So it was nice. And they showed me another location where they're going to have the El Volcan 2. So I may look more into that. I got to talk to the real estate agent, and they're talking to the developer. Things that my wife would want a little different in the other one, though the other one to me was perfect, except a couple color things my wife didn't like. And my wife is, if you ever, and I'll show the picture up there, has the picture of the backyard, and they have the palm trees in there. And anybody who's grown up around trees and stone walls or anything like that, or foundations, trees' roots will mess with a foundation 10, 20 years down the road. So that's something I like to avoid. And that's something actually, apparently, the developer can do, not put the trees in there. So it's by choice. But getting back to finding Antigua homes, they took me around Hacienda del Comendador. It's a nice area. It is a gateway between Los Franciscanos and Antigua Gardens. It is not as flat area as you see in Los Franciscanos, but it's not steep freaking hills like you see in Antigua Gardens. They do have vegetation in the area, and if you get close to the property line or building close to the community line, I should say, you're going to have trees, so it's going to block some of your view. And the homes they showed me there, one was super nice. Again, homes that people have already built. And I'm afraid I did not take pictures of it. It was nice, but it's just, it did not capture me. There's another one they were getting ready to build. That one was interesting as well, but it had that same issue as for the second floor going up that I don't like with the circular stairwell. Everything was on one floor, which is nice, but if you're going to go up to a terrace, I'd like to have a regular staircase, not that type of staircase. But in the neighborhood wasn't good because it does have a nice community house, clubhouse where people can use. It's got a very small pool. It's not on the same size as Los Franciscanos. It does have, but it doesn't have the bar. It doesn't have the kitchen. I'm not saying I'm encouraging everyone to drink, but if you have family over and you don't want to cook, you can go to the restaurant. Yes, you have to pay, but you can go over, do that, and you can walk over, get your drink, and walk home, and you don't have to worry about trying to drive your car and crash it, right? So that's a nice option that I think is interesting. That's why I kind of lean more to Los Franciscanos. But the Commodore is a very nice area. The other thing, and I talked about it in the last video, Los Franciscanos, the power lines are underground, and here they're still telephone poles. So eventually you're going to have more telephone poles when you start looking out. So they block your view and stuff. So I like it very much when they have a community when stuff is buried underground. Gaithersburg, Maryland, think about it. You just need to start doing it because all the power storms come in. Yeah, you destroyed the trees. The power line went by the tree. They cut a big hole in the tree where the power line goes through, cut all the branches out, and it looks ugly as hell. They were supposed to bury them 20 years ago, but they buried the power lines 20 years ago, and they never did. They got money for it, but they never did. So that's where I am today. I'm going to keep this short. I'm going to try to throw some photos up in the background here. Don't know what side I'm going to put it on, but it is very nice. What also was really good yesterday, Mark, very nice to meet you. Very nice gentleman. A little bit older than me. Yeah, you're a lot older than me, Navy. Like decades, right? No, he's just a little older than me. Come to find out, we both lived in the same state, graduated in not different towns, but graduated high school in the same state. I probably watched him play hockey when I was, because I'm a little younger, because in that state, in a small town, that's pretty much all you do is go to, if you want to do an event on Friday nights, I think when they had held the hockey games, you went to the hockey games, you saw it there. So I probably saw him when I was a little younger kid in middle school while he played in high school. So that's kind of funny. And then we had a nice little Irish pub there. Uh, had some food there. Then we went over to a cigar bar, whatever you want to call it. Reminded me being in Maryland because you had to be buzzed in because it had a gated door. It wasn't like a speakeasy or anything, it's just for security. But I'm just laughing. It reminds me when you go to Home Depot in Montgomery County, Maryland, everything's locked up if you want to go to Ryobi, Milwaukee, or any other tools. They're just all locked up. And that's how that gate looked going in. I'm like, oh, I'm back in Montgomery County. Very nice lady was in there. I sat down, Santiago, hello, if I don't see you. Or hopefully I'll see you again, Santiago. Another gringo was in there. Come to find out, he and I chewed some same dirt. He's an older gentleman, but we were in an austere location at the same time. And that austere location had a cigar club, and we were both part of that cigar club during that time. So we were looking at each other, and I'm like, I know I've seen you before. Don't know your name, but I know I've seen you before. That was what was really odd. Think about it. In this large world, in the middle of Antigua, Guatemala, out of middle of nowhere, a person that was in the same state with me at the same time. So we had some, commonalities there. And then, and what's also funny, I used to do radio. He used to do radio. A whole bunch of, it's just hilarious, the similarities there. But then running into Santiago, who's a gringo, I think his real name is Jim or something on that level, but he goes by Santiago. Finding out that we chewed some of the same dirt back in 2011 and 2012. It was just hilarious. So it's like, who would have thunk? And Mark, the gentleman I was with, Santiago never mentioned about being in that austere location. So it's kind of funny. So that's what's really interesting here. Now, I do recommend you're going to have gringo friends, but you want to have Latino, Guatemalan friends as well. Very nice people in here. I know there's some that can be pushy when they're trying to sell at the markets, but a whole lot of nice people here. Con permiso, everyone's trying to be polite to each other, which is very nice to see, especially if you live on the East Coast. You are not familiar with that. If you're small town America, you're used to waving to people, stopping your car, let them through. If you're on the East Coast of America near a big city, you're not getting that type of stuff. People don't wave, they do something else, right? And they'll run you over in a car in a heartbeat. Here, they try not to. Try. I'm not saying they're always successful. So today, like I said, I'm going out again to take a look at another piece of property. Hopefully tonight, when I'm back at my in-laws' house, in the cousin's house there, which does not have hot water, does not have great airflow, but they're very nice people and they're taking care of me. So don't sit at their table, because if they see you sitting at the dining room table, that means you want food, so they'll start bringing you food. Like I said, they eat 5 times a day, and I'm trying to lose weight. That does not help me. So the hotel here, Hotel Soleil in Antigua, very nice hotel. The food is really good. Highly recommend it. I will come back with a wife here because this is more of a business trip. But I'll come back with a wife here. It is close to town. It's like a 15-minute walk to the markets and stuff. Yeah, you have to cross a couple streets, but it's okay. Use Google Maps. You'll get there in a heartbeat. So, been having a good time. I'll catch you guys up on what I'm doing tomorrow. Later this afternoon. I'll talk about it tonight or tomorrow, and I'll release that episode. As always, if you found value in this episode, do me a favor, smash that like button and subscribe. Also, if you have questions or comments asking about my experience or talk about your experience here looking at houses, be the cheap ones or the mucho caro ones, Do me a favor, leave it in the comments below. It's really appreciated. I do my best to try to answer them all. As always, I'm Doug. This is Dying to Retire, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.